Hello everyone, this is Shreya for the session of digitalization, dealing with the interesting case study with the topic of digitalization. So today we'll see my first slide, which comprises of a scenario between two friends. They are two friends in the name of Bob and David, where they are the owners of their business of tours and travel. But in this scenario, Bob is earning less and David is earning more. So, what is the reason behind between this difference? Can you think of it? But according to me, the Bob is using the traditional method and David is using the digital method. So the reason comes automatically that David have more and more business through this digital method. Why? Because he's keeping all the complaint, request, query of the customers on time, whereas Bob is struggling to do so. Why? Because when he is using the traditional way of method, it makes it difficult to complete all the requests, complaints, queries of the customers on time. But here, the David is earning more and more business while doing his business on an online platform with a more accurate way. So my next slide comes out. What is the difference between the traditional and digital method when we talk about this? So it would be in a traditional method, it's a more manpower is used, more time consumption is there. It is a very high costing, very slow processing, and the chance of the errors is very high. So that's what in today's world the people doesn't want this to happen, because whenever they want the service, it should be a fast processing, it should be a more accurate. So these things, when the person or the consumer wants it in his service to be done, so he always like to go for a digital method. So why the digital method? So the points which makes the digital method is less manpower is used, less time consumption is there, low costing, plus it's a faster processing and with a more accuracy. But do you think these points can be available in the traditional method? I don't think so. It will be available because digital method works in a more accurate way rather than a traditional method. Because in a traditional method, it's a time consumption, whereas digital method is a not very time consumption. So that's why in today's world, the people use the digital method of doing for the payments, for taking the service, or purchasing any type of a product. So that's why all the people would like for a digital method. So my next slide comprises of what is the actual definition of digitalization. So when I'm talking about the actual definition of digitalization is, it is comprises of four pillars. That is the technology, data, the process, as well as the organizational change. But when we are talking about these four pillars, it goes hand in hand. So if I'm talking about the first point, that is the technology, that technology it is using in a digital method or in your business, it creates or it modifies your technology to make it more transparent for both the business as well as the consumers. The next goes the data. When you are doing it in an online platform, you get a lot of data. You can compile it, you can make an analysis, and you can come to understand where is the actual your brand or the company is standing in today's market situation. So when the technology is improved, then it comes the data, and third comes the process. And so when I'm talking about the process, so the process, it has an automation process which makes the business, it makes the complexity simplify, so that it makes it transparent, it makes it easy for both the consumers as well as for the business owners, whatever the consumers is buying from that particular website or an app. And if it is automated, if it is making simplifying that process, the consumer will be happy with this part of the process. So this goes in hand. The last thing is the organizational change. So when you compile all the data, the technology process and everything, then you get a clear picture what actually the consumer wants from your brand or the company or your product. So for that, to meet all the elements for your product, you have to make some changes in your organization so that you can give more and more clarity to your product. Whatever the demands of the consumers from your product, you can able to give, unless you make a changes in the organization to get that level of the part which the consumer want from your brand. So that is why you have to do the organizational change for the same. So this is how, when we are talking about that defined digitalization, it stands on these four pillars: the technology, data, process, and organization. If these four pillars are not there, you can't able to define digitalization in today's world on a business module. My next slide comprises of the importance of digitalization. When we talk about the importance, in my point of view, there are 3 points which comes into my mind. That is, first is, when we are talking about, is the efficiency. So the efficiency is that what we have talked about in the earlier slide, the difference between the traditional method and the digital method. So it increases the efficiency, means the accuracy, whatever the records you are keeping. So it makes it easier for you to um, means you can just make it more efficient with the records. You can try to improvise it, try to make it more and more efficient so that you can get a clear picture about your business. Second points comes around when you have records, and there is a point where you have a chances that your records can be stolen. There can be a natural disaster, it can be anything, it can be vanishes of. But what comes in your mind, if we talk about in that same way, in a traditional way, if some documents are gone or stolen or it has been destroyed, so in a traditional method, he has to write it from the scratch from A to Z. But whereas in a digital method, if it has been corrupted, it has been stolen, or it has been a natural disaster, anything, but you can still retrieve it. You can fix that part on the online platform and get the document again without doing the same process again. That's a way, or you can say that is the beauty of digitalization when we are taking in into today's world and not using the traditional way of things while doing it. Third comes the retention of the customer. When we talk about the retention of the customer, you all know every industry wants the customer for itself. Whether you're talking of hospital, whether you're talking about hotels, or you're talking about the movie theaters, everybody wants the customers to get through your app or a website. So whenever the customer has any problem or a query or a request, if there is a proactive representative in your company when the customer calls to your service, and if the person helps the customer with the query or complaint, then the customer will be happy and will try to give more and more business. Secondly, he or she will recommend your website and app to the other people so that they would come to your website. So the footfall will be high, you will get a good customer base, as well as you will get more and more repeat purchases from your targeted customers or the customers you have served. So that's the reason the retention of the customers are really, really important when you are doing a business on an online platform. And that is very difficult to get those customers. If you really cherish them, if you really try to help them in their service, they will always stay by your side and will give you the repeat purchase. That is the reason when we are talking the digital tool in the business module. So traditional way of method doesn't works like that, but the digital tool works to get your business improvised, to get it improved day by day, to get to help the consumers with the query and request and everything. So that's why they have the importance. These are the 3 points. That is, one is the efficiency, second is the whenever your dogs are lost or it's stolen, so there are secure dogs, and third is the retention of the customers when we are talking about the topic of importance of digitalization. So, what do you think of an examples of digitalization? We can simply we can put an example that even today world the people are not carrying a lot of documents in hands because they had a worry that it can be stolen, it can be lost, it can be have any hamper to those documents. So the best way is to keep it online, and whenever you are going for a means you're boarding a flight or something, these are all in your mobile, and these things keeps it very easy whether you are looking for going for a vacation or you are booking something in your online platform. It makes it easier to show all the documents online, plus you can fill up the form online and you can give your digital signature for the same. That's the reason in today's world these makes the things easier for the consumers as well as for the business people. They don't have to keep a bunch of papers for them. So it is on the platform, you have a number of folders and you can name it, you can have a clear picture what are the documents this consumer has given, everything you can manage it online. So that is what digital tool in today's world creates a good impact on a business model. That's the reason we always think of a digitally, not for going traditional or in a physical manner to get the things done. So that is why from my point of view, digitalization is really important ingredient when you are running your business on your online platform. My second slide comprises of the advantages of the digital tools. So when we are talking about advantage, you have come across so many slides in my session where we have only talked about the benefits, the users. So the first point which comes the time saving, you always agree because you are not going in a physical manner, you're just sitting at a home or office and you're just surfing it on the website and you get all the product what you want to purchase. So that is a time saving. Second would be a cost saving. How would you say that it's a cost saving? So when you are not traveling from one place to another and you are sitting in your office and a home and doing that purchase on an online platform, it saves your cost. Third is the accuracy, which I talked about when a digital tool is there, the efficiency of accuracy, or it should be there and the errors part is less in a digital tool. Easy distribution, when we talk about easy distribution, it is like that whenever we want to display a certain information to certain people. So what is the easiest way? Either you can put that message about your brand, about your company to a social media pages where you can grab 100 to 200 people seeing your messages, whereas you can put it on a mail where you can just send to many people, so that it makes it your work easier for your business module or for your product or for your brand or for your company. Then the point comes with the secured. I told you the docs are really secured documents when you're putting it online and you can retrieve it, you can fix it in a no time. Then it is an increase in profits. When we are talking about increase in profit, that means the second name comes about, that the retention of the customers. When you retain those customers, you will get the repeat purchases, you will the customer base, and you will get more and more business out of it. So these are the five 6 points when we are talking about the advantages, which is really important for the same, for your business model if you're running through it. So if these points are there, you can run the business very smoothly. But if you're taking it, okay, I can do it from a traditional way of method, which is really not possible in today's world. So now we have come to the end of the session. That is the case study which you're all interested, which is dealing with a simple QR code. So in your this session, you have come to know what is digitalization, how it impacted in business model, and what is a benefit of using that digital tool in your business model. So now my last comes with the case study, which we are talking about the QR code. So you all know what is the QR code, what it is impact nowadays. Every person is using this QR code to make it happen. Whether it is in a payment, whether it is not standing in a queue, and it is just you can make your service more comfortable with your more convenience. So the entire case study of today is totally based on a QR code. So My case study is based on the telephone industry. When we are talking about a telecom industry, so you probably, I don't know, many people would be working in a telecommunications sector, and they want the customers to be engaged. You all agree with that. When whichever industry you are there, whether it is a hospital industry, whether it's a leisure industry, whether it is the entertainment industry, everybody wants the customer to be engaged with it. And many industries are in a simultaneously using the QR code to increase their business on the time. So you are thinking, you have a thinking in your mind how the QR code will make sense to the customers. You always have this in a mind. This question always pops out. Why the QR code makes sense to the customer? And the customer, and the answer to this question is it definitely make the sense to the consumers, because the reason in this question is when the consumer scans the QR code a multiple of times. I'm not saying it's scanned for one time. It can be scanned for the payments, it can be scanned for the bills, it can be scanned for the services, everything. When this scanning is increased from their smartphones, so what happens that the increase, and this is a thanks to the smartphone, because the QR code works on a smartphone or the Android phone, which we are in today's world is using. So this is a benefit. It's a win-win situation for the business as well as for the consumer, because if we see in a business point of view, as soon a number of scans or a number of things are increased, the activities, the applications in the mobile phone, it gets a lot of business for the business owners in the telecommunication industry, whereas the consumer feels it easier that okay, I'm not carrying any cash or I'm not carrying any payment with us, we can just do it through a smartphone that we are all nowadays carrying each and every moment when we are going out somewhere. So that is why it is a win-win situation on both sides. So there are important ways when we are talking about telecommunication. So first point which comes to my mind, that is, it helps the consumer to pay their bills from their smartphone, whether it is if the person has gone to any supermarket or any grocery store or any telephone bill center, so they can just pay it from their mobile, which makes it easier that their landing page goes to, if it is they are using Paytm or they are using any Google Pay, so they can just pay the bill with their convenience. They just scan it and get the things done on an immediate interface. So this is what nowadays the consumer wants, because they doesn't want to stand for it, even if they are purchasing a one product from one supermarket. So why would they stand in a queue for it? So people have made that QR code so available that they just scan it, make a purchase, and they can go. So that is why the telecom industry made it easier for themselves as well as for the consumer to make it a very simple interface for the same. So my second point comes out that when we are talking about paying the bills, the second point comes around to get the people download your mobile application, whether you are using a number of shopping apps. If I'm talking about a number of shopping apps, so what happens that not even a shopping apps, even a telephone, if you're using any of the telecommunication website to pay your bills for your mobile phones, so you also download that app because it's more convenient, because when you go for a website it asks for the OTP and everything, but if the app is downloaded on your smartphone, it makes the payment easy, it makes the interface easy, everything, the landing page becomes smooth. So in that way, you this traffic of downloading that mobile app in your phone gets increased. That also helps the telecommunication people that okay, the consumer is downloading our application and make it happen. So when it's not about only the mobile application, it is also about all the shopping apps are also there, and it is all increasing. I'm talking about the both the businesses, whether it is a company or whether it is a shopping place. So these, if the applications are downloaded on your mobile phone, it makes a more and more difference because the scanning is increased in that point of view. So that is why it has to deal when we are doing in a traditional way. We have to go from one place to another, get the things done. But here, we can at least just download it because we are have given an app code itself, QR code, where you can download. You can go to the Play Store and just download it. You don't have to go here and there. So that is more convenient for the people to have a mobile phone, and that is why it is really thanks to the smartphone and plus this telecommunication that they're bringing more and more benefits for the consumers, so that the consumer will use a mobile phone more and more itself. So that is one part. Second point which comes to it, when you have a mobile app to give a detailed information in a phone, when you are the main functionality of a mobile phone, when you scan it, whether it is in a packaged food, like for example, I'm taking or purchasing a packaged food, and when you scan it, you get the entire details of that particular product. That's all you need, because there's no one there to assist you at that point of time. You all know when you go to a supermarket or somewhere, so you don't get that much of people helping you out with the product or telling you about the product. So what is the point of QR code in that? Do you just scan it and you get the detailed information? So that is the reason when we are talking about the packaged food. This is an example, but when we are talking about a mobile industry, so mobile industry also gives the network booster. You all know, if you're using some of the machines like Airtel, like BSNL, any company, so they are also giving a network booster. But what is the simplicity into that? That they are providing that QR code. So what is it helpful for the consumers? It helps that whenever it gets any problem with the network booster or something, when you purchase that product, many people, according to me, I purchase many goods and I don't get, sometimes it's get damaged or sometimes it's not working for me. So I would go and search for a QR code where I get a clear set of instructions, or the landing page would be to the website where I could learn about the product as well, how to make it run. These instructions I can get through that particular QR code, which is either the person gives as a sticker to their network booster, or they can give the app when you are purchasing it from there. So you can just give a detailed information about your product, and that can be, if it is in a dynamic QR code, you can edit, you can give more and more information, so that the consumer gets an easy interface to get through it and make that happen. Because nowadays every person wants that it should be easy, it should be convenient, it should be in a working process. He doesn't have to wait in a queue to get his service done. Second point, which comes to make your marketing strategy. How would you make your marketing strategy in a mobile phone? So many people uses the banners, flyers, leaflets. Many things are do. Print media is an advantage, but if you're using that print media in a digital way, it's a really, really easy, because each and everything, every information about that campaign or the event is there in that leaflet, brochures, or in a mobile. Sometimes they give an mail for it, and they gives a QR code that you can just scan it and you get the detailed information about it. That's what the mobile marketing strategy makes it important for telecommunication. You can even, any other business, if you're doing it for the leaflets or brochures or something, you can just have a QR code over there where it has the entire information about the campaign or the event which is happening within your company, and that makes the consumer easy to understand what is the campaign all about, what is the product all about. Then we are talking about the how to verify your customer details. When we are talking about the customer details, So before any telephone company provides its services to the user, it always have to verify the identification of the customer. You all know whenever you are taking a new connection or something, so they will come with a form and taking your all the identification so that they can give it into the system and make it that okay, this is a new user to our company, and it makes it a time of processing which makes nearly not easy to do that, and so it is taking a time in processing. So this is we call as a traditional pain. But nowadays when you have to verify the customer identification, you need not to fill the full filled forms for it, and it takes a few seconds to process that form digitally. So instead of giving a 12 digit number for verification or something which has been attached the government ID with your form, but it can be done through a QR code, and it has to be identified as soon as the form is filled digitally. So you can just scan it and get your application be processed, plus you get the service what all you require. So that is a very easy way, whether you are working in a telecommunication company or not, because it's really easy of doing that. So in a traditional way, it is not possible, but when you're talking about digital, these things are possible with one simple image, that is a QR code. And when we have doing, when the customer details are there, so everything when you have purchased everything, whatever the service you require and everything, then it gives you a feedback form to understand what is your experience, whether you have gone to a did your experience was good or not, whatever the service you required, it was being answered properly or not. So these things come with that when you are using in a telephone communication and you're trying that you have a good purchases by the consumer, you should brought after purchasing, you should provide a feedback form with a QR code where they can fill up their entire information or the entire experience through which they have gone through by buying this service or taking this service through your company. That is really important, because without a feedback, you can't improvise your product, you can't improvise the service, you can't make any improvements in your business. So that's the reason in today's world, when you're purchasing something, some product, or uh, any material things, you should have a customer feedback form where you can understand what are the customer needs, what the customer wants from your product, what are they can be discounts, they can be offers, they can be anything. The customer can have any demands from your product. So because what all you can give, that is the more important to the consumers, to make it, to make them happy and to come back again and again for the repeat purchases in your app or website. Now, my last point, which comprises of to make the lives easier for the citizen. How do you think it makes a life easier for the citizen? So now, if there is a problem in your locality or in your street, you just file a complaint, that is an online complaint that goes to the local authorities, and they'll get information that this disturbance is there in your locality. So you can just dial it, or you can just scan the QR code and you get through it. So it makes then easier for the people in the local place. But when a tourist come to your place to visit, and he wants the entire information about the trip which he is going through, so that can also be done through a simple QR code. That is a simple image in our business, but it has a really impact when we are talking about the QR code helps in the citizens as well as the business models. So from the time being, what I'm talking about, that as soon as the consumers uh, scans more and more, it gives business to the business owners, as well as it makes easier for the people of using that uh, app or a website through just one QR code, and the landing page would be the website. So these are the takeaways what we think that it should be there. So I should remind you the takeaways for this. It The mobile industry helps the consumer to pay their bills smoothly. Second, you get the people download your mobile applications. Third would be the to give a detailed information about the product to make. Second would be the to make the marketing strategy better in the mobile marketing. Then to verify your customer details, and the last would be to make the lives of the citizens more easier through this QR code that makes it really easy when you're using this QR code. So this is today's takeaway. What are the benefits? What are the uses when we are uh, working in a telecom industry, and how do we engage us consumers through our industry? And it is really easy with one simple QR code. So this is the case study about which is dealing with the digitalization, with the case study of mobile industry and how the mobile industry benefits through this QR code. So this is all about the session. So I would be I'm representing the company of Uxlivinglab, and this is a market research consultant where we try to innovate the things. We try to get a qualitative quantitative reports. We have a customer insight focus feedback. So this is what we do, and we try to give more and more insight about the customers. We do the interviews. We try to understand what the consumer needs from your product, from your brand, or for your business. That's what we do. So if you have any query regarding this, you can just ping me on my Facebook and we will try to help you out. Or if you want any information about our products or about anything, I will help you out in this regard for the information. So that's the reason is the what we do is from a simple QR code. You have just to register it by giving your name and email ID, and it will simply give you a QR code. Your QR code is created, and you can use it whatever the service you required, or you want to give a feedback for a company if you have used our services. So it's a really easy by creating your QR code for our website. I initially would say just come and visit for once, try to understand what we do. Actually, we are market research and we can try to give you a strategy. We'll try to help you to innovate the things. We'll try to give you the ideas how you can improvise your product, because we are getting more and more insight if we are taking the service of getting more and more insight from the consumer feedback for your product, so we can understand where your brand or your product is standing in this current market situation. So we will always try to help you whatever the problems you are facing in your business. So that is what we are here for, and we would love to help our customers for their any queries or any complaints or any requests. So please do come and visit our website, and if you have any suggestions or anything to add on it, please let me know so that I can just look into the matter. If I can do it, I can just provide you some solution to it. So that is what all about our session with the digitalization and how the mobile industry gets help into it through this QR code. And we are the market research. We can help you out in every such way to make your business improve, to make your products in a more improvised manner. Thank you for joining us for this session. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any queries, just ping me on my Facebook page. Thank you.